It is April 1st, 2019. This is the Wrestling Inc. podcast. I'm Glenn Rubenstein, joined by Mr. Matt Morgan and Raj Giri to talk about the go-home Raw before WrestleMania 35. Matt Morgan, are you excited? Are you pumped? Tonight's main event saw Baron Corbin facing Rey Mysterio. Baron winning, attacked by Kurt Angle on the ramp afterwards.
What the freak was that? This is the go home to WrestleMania, folks. And we just saw Baron Corbin closing out the last Raw. What the freak is happening?
I couldn't believe that's what they ended with. The high point of tonight's show, I think everyone will agree, was the women, Becky, Charlotte, and Ronda, getting dragged off in handcuffs, fighting backstage in cop cars, for Christ's sakes.
You didn't find any of that like humorous at times and it pulled you out of the moment?
It was so over the top ridiculous, right? Okay. But it was great in that sense, though. I mean, it wasn't as good as Braun Strowman throwing Roman Reigns on a stretcher backstage. I did think they didn't quite go to that level of over the top, but I loved it. It seemed on social media that was the pinnacle, the high point of the show. Raj, do you think that's why they included it at the end of the second hour, because they knew that was going to be their peak viewers for tonight?
Well, the peak viewers have usually, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
So the peak viewers have usually been in the first hour. So, that's when you would think they would do it. So yeah, I don't know. I thought tonight was, outside of the Becky stuff, I thought tonight was just kind of a complete waste for a go home for WrestleMania.
I like the video packages. I thought some of the video packages were cool, but I'm not going to lie. I fell asleep after Kurt Angle had Corbin in the ankle lock, and I woke up and the Miz and Mrs. thing was playing, and I was like, oh, this is a really cool commercial they're playing for the show, to hype it up, I guess, right? And they're going to come back from break, and we're going to see them going off the air really late on Raw. And my wife's like, no, that was it. Raw's done. It's like, no, it's like 11:02. There's no way.
Yeah, that was the show. There were other moments tonight. Let's go through segment by segment and talk about what happened. Stephanie McMahon opened up the show to clarify that in the women's main event, the historic first ever women's main event of WrestleMania, the women main eventing WrestleMania 35, it's going to be SmackDown champion Charlotte Flair, Raw champion Ronda Rousey, and Becky Lynch in a triple threat match. Now, Stephanie started with an April Fool's joke saying she was adding herself to the match as a fourth, clarifying, I admit I fell for that for a split second just because it seems like something she would do, but then clarifying winner takes all belts on the line. Whoever wins that match is going to walk out of it the Raw and SmackDown women's champions. Matt, does that make you more excited for the match? Or
it does. It adds more value to it. Well, no matter what, let them figure it out afterwards. But you know what I mean? Because it does play on what we talked about, that going off the air with the 4 horsewomen all holding title belts. Do you see what I'm saying? So now this screws that up.
Yeah, they can't end that way. Raj, how do you think they get out of this situation having a dual champion at the end of the pay-per-view?
I think they go with it. Becky wins both, and Money in the Bank is next, right? So someone cashes in on one of those belts.
Yeah.
Or do they make one champion that goes on both shows?
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
So apparently the plan is that just a few days ago, they were thinking of having it where they're both putting their belts on the line, but you only win one. So if Ronda beat Charlotte, she would have both, or if Charlotte beat Ronda, she'd have both. But if Becky pinned Ronda, she'd be the Raw Women's Champion. If she pinned
that's the way
Charlotte,
it should be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that makes the most sense.
It does make the most sense, but that's not what they said tonight, right?
Yeah, but that's not what they're doing. Yeah, so now, she was saying they're going to have 2 belts. So.
Maybe a unified champion?
I don't know. It didn't sound like they were going in that direction.
I mean, they have enough women and enough stock where there should be 2 women champions.
I saw on Twitter the idea that maybe this is how we get a mid-card women's belt out of this, is they unify the top level, and maybe we get the equivalent of the Intercontinental Championship for women to give the rest something to fight for that aren't at the top of the card.
I would be cool with that, but I still would argue they need 2 women's champions. One on each show, though. Do you know what I mean? Like top line, headline act, because then someone like the Boss, when she breaks away from the tag team division and goes back to being a singles act, should be in that Intercontinental Ricky Steamboat type of role. Do you know what I mean? If not the main event, obviously.
Yeah,
something like for her and others. What I'll give you right now. What's her name? The blonde girl that you think Vince McMahon really likes.
Oh, Lacey Evans.
Not her, but that's one. But the other
Mandy
one,
Rose.
Mandy Rose would be ideal.
You know what's funny?
Champion type level.
I almost in my head for a second said Lacey Rose. I literally was like they were one.
They are.
They're the same.
To Vince McMahon, they are. I bet you he doesn't know the difference.
That's true. Probably not. He's like the one that wears the hat. That's how, you know. Good Lord. But no, I think they've got tomorrow night to change it. Maybe there's going to be a reaction to the arrests tonight. They said they're going to follow the story on social media. I don't know. I think the end of Becky or Charlotte or Ronda holding up 2 belts. I don't know. I'd rather see the curtain call personally. How about you?
Can we make fun of Ronda Rousey tonight? Still doing her boo-boo face in handcuffs though. Like she got kneed in the face, and she's still going. Her little baby faces she makes when she's pouting. It was hilarious. I'm sorry. There's a lot of that I laughed at.
I don't know. I think the most mockable moment tonight was Finn Balor. Why did he make the noise? Why did he do that face at the end of that promo?
Why did that was awkward? His tongue out.
He literally said blah.
Right.
Blah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's cool he's bringing the demon, but yeah, that
is
was,
it. Is that cool, Rush?
Or did he just find a way to make it uncool?
Yeah. Maybe it jumped the shark with that.
Why? Oh, sorry. Yeah, they shot an hour of footage of that, and Vince was like, "No, you have to make the noise," and that's what they used. They probably had a lot cooler stuff that was on the cutting room floor, but that's what Vince liked.
I agree.
Yeah, it was weird. It was like, remember when Ultimate Warrior started doing those little growls, little snorts at the end of his promos? It was like Hulk Hogan.
Sadly, I dug those. Though.
As a kid, I guess it's different, but
now I laugh. But
yeah.
That was so cheesy. So Stephanie made that announcement at the top, winner take all. Then came out Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman. Paul did his thing. Brock was there. Seth Rollins came out. They ended up going at it.
Chat room. Hey, really quick. Chat room. Chime in real quick. Everybody listening and watching at home. Are you guys sick of the Brock and Paul gimmick? Are you guys over it?
Let's see
what that comes back with as we go on the show.
Yeah, so this ended with Rollins standing tall, holding the belt. And Raj, based on your prediction algorithm here, I got nervous. Seth standing tall, holding the belt. Are they keeping the title on Brock Sunday?
I don't think so. But you never know. I mean, he could re-sign at any time. So
remember, he did beat Roman Reigns when we thought for sure Roman was going over.
Yeah, it was like such a given that Reigns was beating him last year, and that didn't. Or was that last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah,
that was last year.
I don't remember.
Yeah, and he re-signed at the last minute. They did Saudi Arabia. Lesnar won again. So
that's what it was.
Yeah. Everyone in the chat saying they're sick of it.
Then let's go. Okay. Then let's go. Enough of this. Well, he brings mainstream media attention. Listen, it's not worth it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, how much
or have him bring the
getting?
mainstream attention, but not as champion. Bring him in special feuds here and there.
He needs 6 months away. He does. He's just he's not around every week, and I'm sick of him. I'm bored of him. I can't believe I'm saying that, but I am.
Yeah, same here. Same as Heyman. I've never thought I'd say I'm bored of Heyman, but when they do those promos where he's just standing there and my client, the Beast, does the same thing week after week for years and years and years. And I love Brock. I think he's he brings a certain element to wrestling and his character that you don't see right now, like a realism and this badass. But just him not being able to do his own promos after all this time, when he used to be able to, it's just gotten so redundant and old.
It is. It's boring.
Yeah, it's boring.
Yeah, it's something. So after that, we had the women that are going to be involved in the 4-way tag match at WrestleMania. Nia Jax, Tamina Snuka, Peyton Royce, and Billie Kay, the Iconics on Raw, versus Beth Phoenix and Natalya, Sasha Banks, and Bayley. With the faces, Beth, Natalya, Sasha, and Bayley picking up the win. Beth Phoenix, first time back on Raw in ages, and great spot with her putting Tamina through that wall there. But aside from that, Matt, what did you think of this match?
I don't like that they gave away way too much. They gave away way too much by having this match tonight. They didn't need to do this. So now what's the difference in the Mania match? Oh, that it's every tag team for themselves. Well, we still a lot of work here tonight that we could have saved for Mania. Hell, that spot with Beth even. I don't know. Yeah. I'm excited for this 4-way match. I am. So I was kind of annoyed that they gave away a little bit of the house, in my opinion.
I wonder if part of that is because I wonder if it's not going to get that much time.
Ooh, okay.
You know, I mean, they got what, 16 matches now.
Okay.
So
if that's it, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And but one of 3 women's matches on the card. I don't know. I think definitely there's a lot they could do with this, but that's interesting tonight that they went this direction.
Nothing yet with the women's on SmackDown. With women's wrestlers maybe getting a match.
There's going to be the women's battle royal, but so it's going to be this and the triple threat.
Yeah.
That's it. The triple threat, the tag match, and then the battle royal.
Yep.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the main event is loaded with women, you know, and that's way stronger than anything on this show. So I'd rather have a much stronger women's main event and fewer matches on the card than more matches that don't mean as much.
Okay. Yeah.
So after that, a lot of pomp and circumstance for Batista coming out tonight. Came out, introduced a video package, and then just kind of very simple forward promo. Hunter, kiss my ass.
I loved it.
I thought this is what they should have been doing all the time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought. Keep it simple. You know, that video package told a whole story that, you know, Triple H never being able to beat him. You know, Batista cutting a long promo saying that would have sucked.
Yes, it would.
So, yeah, the way they did it, simple, to the point. Batista came off just like a badass, looked great, looked like a superstar.
Yeah.
So I thought this was the best thing they did for this match since the Ric Flair thing.
Ric Flair, yes.
Yep. No, I thought this was great. If they'd all been this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really. Video packages, they need to realize that is their strength. It's been their strength. It's been their strength in WWE, I would argue, even since back in the Attitude Era. You know what I mean? The video packages were always better than WCW's. You know, is that back then they put cool music videos to it. They put like AC/DC, Highway to Hell with like Stone Cold coming out of fire and shit. It was badass stuff even back then they did. Yeah. And it always separated them from WCW, I always thought, because of that. And this is still, they can still be doing the same magic. In fact, I would argue they need it now more because we have younger stars. You could really cement their legacy. You know, with a lot of these like AJ Styles types and Joes and guys that are on the up, you know, the new crop of main event talent for this company. This is how you can cement them. Is give us fans those memories of these badass video packages.
Yeah. Yeah, they tell the story a lot better a lot of times than
they add to it, because Stone Cold was an amazing promo, right? So was him versus Undertaker, Highway to Hell. I'll never forget that.
Right.
Coolest that or what was the other one? Creed song. What was the one that did?
My Sacrifice.
Come on, that's the best of all time. That is the best video package of all freaking time, and it makes everybody in that video, like even Stacey Keeler's cool in that video. Like everybody in that video is cool and over.
Didn't they do a series of those? Weren't there a series, or was it a different
My Sacrifice?
Yeah.
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 We need to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree. Elias cutting a promo from outside MetLife Stadium saying that WrestleMania on Sunday, he will not be interrupted. He will get through a song. So, Matt, do you think this is where Cena's going to come out Sunday and interrupt Elias?
It'd be welcome. Good for Elias, if so.
Yeah, Raj, what are you hearing about a Cena match? Meltzer is saying that Cena's agreed to do one Sunday?
Yeah, I mean, where else does he fit in? I would guess this would be the spot, right?
Amazing he doesn't get advertised. I mean, again, what are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, you're the biggest star in the company, not even advertise him. And
this is up there with Undertaker not being advertised last year. What was
right? Well, he was and he wasn't, right? Like they were teasing that he was going to be there, but wasn't answering the challenge. So you knew that he was going to, he was going to be there.
He was not on a poster though, right?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So he was advertised in the sense that he was a part of the build, but they never advertised that he was definitely going to face John Cena. But last year they did that thing with John Cena and Elias. So it just kind of feels like,
oh, they did.
Yeah. So it's kind of like you're doing the same thing.
Okay, that sounded cool. Okay.
Well, without advertising it, WrestleMania is looking pretty sold out. There are still seats available, but that brings us to the sponsor of this week's episode, which is SeatGeek. Oh, this weekend, my wife and I had the fantasy. Matt, do you ever get this around WrestleMania season? It gets a couple days out and you're like, we can go. We can hop on a plane. We can go there. We can buy last minute tickets. We can go to Access. We can go to Hall of Fame. We can go to TakeOver. We can go to Mania.
No, we're not.
You haven't done this.
We're not as spontaneous as the Glenn Rubensteins.
Oh, no. That's true. You have children. We have disposable income. So
I wish I had it like that, Glenn.
Yeah. So we were looking at that, and if you're still thinking about that, let me tell you, SeatGeek is the way to go. We were looking. SeatGeek has great tickets available for Mania, TakeOver, and a lot of the other events going on. And I'll tell you, the ticket industry hasn't changed in a long time. There are a bunch of big companies who've been around forever, and they don't really care about making the experience easier for the customer. I went on some other top ticketing sites, and I was so frustrated with Mania trying to figure out what's the view like from the seat. Are these decent? How is this for the money? They do these things. They call some stuff platinum tickets, which seem like they're just trumped up prices, overinflated. And I love that with SeatGeek, it's no BS. They make it really, really simple, because what they do is they put the customer first. They have over 50,000 5-star reviews on the App Store because they are focused on making your experience as easy as possible. They pull in millions of tickets from all over the web. They rate each deal on a scale of 1 to 10. They display them on an interactive seat map. So it's simple to find what you're looking for. Green dots are good deals. Red dots are overpriced. Love that.
They're that honest?
Yes, they are so honest.
Hey, this is a crap deal. Don't do it.
Absolutely. And what's great about it is every purchase is fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets with confidence. I've got the SeatGeek app on my phone. I spent the weekend looking because we got really deep into the weeds, Matt. And part of the reason we decided not to go is I actually don't want to miss doing this podcast. I was like, I owe it to the fans. Yes, I owe it to the people that tune in. And I couldn't figure out how to do the podcast, but we were looking. We're like, Tootsie is now being made into a musical on Broadway. SeatGeek has got tickets for that.
Great movie, by the way.
One of my favorite movies. Beetlejuice is coming to Broadway. SeatGeek has got tickets for that. We were looking at all this stuff going on. We're looking at Vegas tickets now for when we go to StarCast and Double or Nothing in May. SeatGeek is great. We love whether we're planning something weeks and months ahead or trying to do something spontaneous. SeatGeek has got the deals. You've heard Raj talk about it. He's used it for Bon Jovi, Lady Gaga, Broncos tickets. I've used it for a variety of shows, a variety of concerts, for see Hamilton on Broadway, to go see a multitude of bands that I love in concert like Bananarama. Saw Wayne Newton in Vegas this last time, Gwen Stefani, and we have a great deal for our listeners. You can get $10 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Use our promo code INC for $10 off your first purchase, and you can use that for concert tickets, sports, comedy, the theater, whatever your heart desires. That's promo code INC for $10 off your first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the app. You're going to love it. And we thank them for sponsoring the podcast. But yeah, Mania tickets are going, but SeatGeek has some deals out there, man.
I don't know if you can see it, but it's my first time going on it right now, and I'm checking it out right now. You're not lying. They're very honest with. Like, this is a 9.4, you know what I mean? Then they rate them. They rate what kind of deal this is. That's pretty badass. And I'm looking at Mania right now, and it's going all over the arena where the seats are available. And the insane the pricing is not bad. This is pretty good. $150.
Yeah.
Section 304. I'd be all over that.
That's really good.
And save $10 with our promo code INC. So to the point that we segued in, Mania being a brand itself, they don't have to advertise Cena at this point. They don't have to advertise The Undertaker. People are lining up.
Oh, the brand itself. No, you're right. Yeah.
They're going for it. And that's the thing. Right. There is something really about being there at WrestleMania. And it was close this year. We almost pulled the trigger, but because of this podcast, decided not to go. So we could be here to talk about it.
And I will be back as well on Saturday. So I'm going to be missing the post-takeover podcast with you guys. But
why?
Because I'll be in New York. So I'm coming back on Saturday. So I'll be here we're going to be doing an ROH one on Saturday night, the ROH New Japan show at Madison Square Garden. And then all of us will be back on Sunday for the WrestleMania one after 7 hours.
Won't I be doing NXT?
Yeah, it'll be you and Glenn for NXT.
Friday night.
Friday night.
Going to be great. Looking
Yeah,
forward
it's weird
to
this
that.
year because it's Friday night and not a Saturday. It keeps throwing me off.
So I don't have anything Saturday?
No, unless you want to do ROH.
I'm good.
I'm gonna watch Hall of Fame and then enjoy my Saturday evening.
Yes, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah, you get a night off in the middle, which is kind of nice.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, Brutus the Barber Beefcake announced official for this. They didn't really go into that tonight. Did he get a separate shout out, Raj, or was he just in the video package for Hall of Fame?
I was just about to ask you guys that. They never did a video for him, right? It was just like they did a Hall of Fame promo and he was one of the guys in it.
I always start Raw 2 commercial breaks behind so I can fast forward through the commercials and watch the show. Seriously, so I don't think I caught it if they did.
Yeah. They didn't do a video package for Brutus, but
that sucks.
Yeah, I mean Brutus, you know.
What's the point then of inducting him if they're not gonna?
The rumor is that Hogan is gonna induct him. Or rather, speculation. That's the speculation.
So then that's what you would advertise being introduced by,
I think that probably is. That's a wash, Matt. They're going to get as much positive as negative.
They'll stay. They're still. I gotcha. Yeah.
You know, but if they're going to do it, I think that's the speculation. Is that Hogan inducts him? Who knows at this point? No celebrity this year. No Cyndi Lauper. Her musical is closing on Broadway this weekend. Some people are speculating that's why they're confused with WrestleMania.
Oh, well, yeah, you'd want them to be present, obviously.
I mean, what other celebrities could you think of that deserve to be in?
Well, Mr. Worldwide, clearly.
But, who?
Pitbull. Sorry. Pitbull jokes going right over Raj and Matt's heads. No, I don't know. No, Pitbull.
Bob Uecker. I don't know.
Is Bob Uecker still alive?
Just for that one choke spot with Andre backstage with Andre's fingers around his neck is almost worth it.
Honestly. Right, yeah.
Bob Uecker's still alive, 85 years old.
He gave us some memories.
Yeah, no, he was a great WrestleMania celebrity because you could tell he enjoyed it. He was having fun with it. Good. Like I remember, do you remember Pamela Anderson doing it? And she just looked like she would rather be anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, Jenny McCarthy looked more enthused than she did.
Yeah. Pamela Anderson,
both the hottest women on the planet at the time. Think about that. Like the WWE was able to get both of them.
It was quite the coup that year.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny. Pitbull did perform at WrestleMania like 2 years ago, right? In Florida.
Yeah. He's up there with what's his name, Flow Rider. I do not care for either.
Yeah. He had that green light. So was it that one that now that I'm thinking about, I guess stuck in my head again.
In the Hall of Fame. Come on, it's the Hall of Fame.
Should Snoop Dogg be in the Hall of Fame?
Yes. He was always excited. You could always count on him to come when they would do like the celebrity edition of Raw or whatever the hell it is, and they had a celebrity GM. He was always game.
That's true. Yeah, Snoop Dogg,
a legit fan.
Yeah,
Drew Carey didn't deserve it. That's the one that always took me out of it.
That bothered me too.
Yeah. So it's like we have more show to get back to, more to talk about, and I looked at the next match: Apollo Crews versus Jinder Mahal. With the entrance in the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal surrounding the ring, including Tyler Breeze with a new haircut.
I'm always happy to see you guys get TV time. You know, this is Mania, like the week before Mania.
But Matt, no, I agree. Well, I was gonna say this might be. I thought I didn't mean to cut you off, but I thought of you when I saw EC3 standing between the members of the Ascension. If that were you, and they're like, Matt Morgan, go stand between the members of the Ascension, wouldn't you have been like kind of shimmy, trying to like get?
Right, you don't want to get any on you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too late though when you're out there with the rest of those guys too. They're all kind of in that same spot.
They're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, poor EC3 at this point, right? And he was in a backstage segment with Tyler Breeze. What do you guys make of Tyler Breeze on Twitter over the weekend? Being
what do you do?
Just talking about like the last four. I mean, like I was gonna say passive aggressive, but no, he's being pretty direct, right, Raj? I mean, talking about like, the last 4 years being underutilized.
Yeah,
at a certain point, you got to know what you're worth.
Basically saying he's underappreciated.
He is. But he needs to do more than just tweet. He needs to go knock on Vince McMahon's door. If he tweets about that, I'll be impressed. Right. That's where the power comes from. It doesn't come bitching on Twitter. It just gets you heat, to get you in trouble. It might get you over with the marks for 24 hours, 48 at best. But it ain't going to be another give Divas a chance. So slow your roll. And Go knock on the man's door and talk to him. You can't be scared to do it. You got to just go do it. If you know your worth, dude, then go do it. Because I know your worth, and you're worth a hell of a lot more than what they're booking you at. That's for sure. You're right for thinking that. Same with, like, we were just making a joke, right? They used to Tyler Breeze's backstage with, what's his name, EC3. Can you believe?
Yeah.
Can you want to believe something? I would pay money if those two could just do whatever what they can naturally do as far as entertaining goes, and you gave them 5 minutes and let them come up with their own shit. I guarantee it'd be hilarious. I guarantee it'd be entertaining.
Yeah.
Guarantee it. They're both super creative.
Yeah. So some of the stuff he wrote, been underutilized or whatever you want to call it for 4 years. All the props in the world of gender. P.S. This is the perfect example of someone. Oh wait, this is in response to something else. Joked about being on Main Event again. Yeah, so he
that's a shame.
Yeah, taking his frustrations out on Twitter, but as we've seen with Kanellis and other guys in the past, that doesn't really help you out.
Just do something. Like, go. I'm telling you, maybe they are. I hope I'm wrong. You know what I mean? This is just their last resort. They already have knocked on Vince's door. They've been in there. They've talked to him. If they've done that, and then this is what they've done at their last resort, then what can you do? But if they're doing this and they're not knocking on his door, this is not going to help.
Yeah. EC3 got a line backstage. I think those are the first words he said on Raw. So
if some of you guys that are watching, because I know a lot of the boys do, I do. I'm not putting our show over like that, but they do. I'm not trying to be arrogant. And some of you guys that are in this situation, I'm telling you right now, the best advice I'll ever give you. You'll be surprised on how confident you can be around Vince. Right now, your confidence is shot because you're not on TV, so you don't think you matter. I assure you, if you go in there and you friggin' knock him on his ass with a shoot promo of your worth and what you want to do, I guarantee you'll get that opportunity. Guarantee it. He'll pop for it. He wants that. He hasn't seen it in years. He's begging for it.
Yeah, and I feel like even Breeze is discounting how massively over the Fashion Police were for.
Hell yeah! I thought it was awesome. I was a huge fan of that.
Yeah, I was thinking about that match today. Not only the pre-show match they with the Usos, but the one they did with the disguises. Like, when's the last time you saw something that
hilarious,
clever, or innovative in a wrestling match?
Is it what he's worth? Is he still worth more than that? Yeah, I thought so. I did, but he is still hilarious. Well done.
I don't know. With this new haircut, he just looked out there to me like a regular guy. You know what I mean? Like,
he's not throwing in the towel. That's all, because he's super good. I'm just a fan. I always thought of him like Christian. I swear, so similar.
Yeah, well, he's going to be in the Andre, so he's got that going for him at least. But yeah, this segment where Apollo Crews beat Jinder, they were showing the trophy. We'll see. We'll see if one of the SNL guys wins this year.
Does that mean Jinder's not in Andre?
I think he is.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah.
Man, we had a promo segment with Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle with Rey Mysterio coming out to the ring, setting up the match for later in the evening between Baron and Rey. It was originally advertised that Rey and Kurt were they gonna wrestle tonight, or was it tomorrow on SmackDown?
It's tonight.
Gotcha. So that didn't happen. No sign of Rey's son Dominic tonight either, unfortunately. And then we had a Raw Tag Team title match, Ricochet and Aleister Black versus The Revival. This ending, I thought this was great. Matt, what did you think of the match, and what did you think of the ending, using that count out at the last minute to have The Revival retain the Raw Tag titles?
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart. They didn't have to give anything away, So that was smart. I liked it. Great match.
Yeah, it was really good. It protects them. It protects Ricochet and Aleister Black because they lost, but it was by count out, which, all fans know that's not a real loss.
Right.
So, yeah, they haven't announced a tag title match on either brand yet for WrestleMania. So it kind of shows the priority with the tag titles right now. But I would think that they'll probably announce a pre-show match with the Revival or something this week on Twitter.
Yeah. Do you think it's time at Mania for Ricochet and Aleister Black to win?
That's how I would do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And we'll see how they fare Friday night at TakeOver, where they're facing the War Raiders for the NXT Tag Team titles. So going to be a busy weekend for them.
That is odd.
I almost wonder if they feel like, well, these guys are already working WrestleMania weekend, so we don't need to put them on the card. I mean, we need to get other guys on.
So this will be on the pre-show?
No, they wouldn't even be on the card since they're working TakeOver.
What do you mean?
Since Aleister Black and Ricochet are wrestling at TakeOver.
Right.
So the feeling might be that they don't need to be at WrestleMania since they already have a match.
I thought that was a match at Mania, a scheduled match. Am I making that up?
It hasn't been announced yet, but it's speculated. Okay. I believe Meltzer also speculated they're going to add tag matches to the card.
Thanks for watching the product, Matt.
It's such a goddamn weird business that I swear to God, Meltzer has a thought and everyone is like, oh, this is happening. What
is the deal with that?
Well, it's not just that. Everything just seems so chaotic with their booking right now. Like last week, the day of the show, day of SmackDown, they had a Fatal 4-Way announced with the winner facing Asuka, and then that completely changes. I mean, it just seems like they're booking by the seat of their pants, and there's like so little long-term story and real planning.
Well, Glenn, real quick, I got to hear this answer. What do you think Meltzer is? Is Meltzer Fox News or is he CNN?
I think he's more Alex Jones sometimes, right? I think Meltzer is just, with his crazy theories sometimes get taken as gospel. No, I don't know. Meltzer is critical though, right? Because Meltzer's clearly a fan. Mm-hmm. Clearly a fan, but at the same time, he doesn't like Fox News. Well, depending who's in power, you could say Fox News has regard necessarily, where CNN's a little more antagonistic of everyone. I mean, they were antagonistic pretty much for my adult life. CNN's been antagonist. I think Meltzer, it's weird. It's a weird like frenemy status that he has with the WWE, right? Because he gives them shit, but it's also his bread and butter.
Yeah. I just like to see, and I try to make sure, I know we get out of a turn every once in a while, but we try to make note of it or light of it, but we're fans, you know what I mean? And we try to remember that, but while being critical of things that we want to see improved.
Well, speaking of which, I mean, we'll talk about this later in the show, but that John Oliver piece last night.
Oh my God, I got texted by every politician in the state of Florida about this. They're going to be the ones that are going to, I'm like, guys, it ain't ever going to happen. I go, you don't get it. And they're like, oh, we looked it up. I saw Jesse Ventura tried to do it. And this is where they went wrong. I'm like, you're out of your mind. It will not happen.
You mean unionizing or classifying wrestlers as employees?
Unionizing.
Yeah. And classifying as employees, that's probably not going to happen either.
I'd love to see it. That's the next step for him to take. I think Vince will have to be gone for it to take place, though.
Yeah. I think the one thing that they could do now, and we'll talk about more of this later, but they could give these guys easier schedules and give them like 2 months of the year off each, and just rotate them out. So it keeps them fresh. It keeps their characters fresh.
Okay.
You get to pick 2 months out of the year. Obviously, Mania season, all hands on deck. But after that,
but what about the fact the show doesn't start at 8:00 and I got to be there at 12, or I'm fired, or wearing a suit on a plane, or I'm fired, or when I'm paying somebody to come paint my house, I don't get to tell them what to wear.
Right. Yeah. There's all those rules because they're so they've got so much control over them that you're not supposed to have with an
independent contractor. That's not supposed to be part of the deal.
Yeah, but I mean, the music industry has the same sort of restrictive demands on its artists. I mean, they
ask you to perform on the date that you're paid to perform.
Kind of. No, with the music industry, I mean, you have to do a lot of stuff. Like the record company essentially owns you and controls your life, but you're an independent contractor. And with the record industry, it's actually even weirder because they're paying you project to project, album to album. You're not getting paid per appearance. You get like one lump sum per record. And that's what you live off of for, sometimes years. So I think that it would take
they make money off of concerts, that concert money.
That's true. You are allowed to make your own additional income, but the WWE does let its wrestlers to an extent. It's funny that this made news. I was looking at the other night, that Cameo site where everyone does the video shout outs and whatnot. Big E, like being on there now. Dana Brooke is on there. Aiden English is on there. There's a couple of active roster talents. Mickey James is on there that are making Dana Brooke's charging like $25 all the way up to, I think Mickey James is like $250. Current roster talent that are making money to do these 30-second to 2-minute, hey, what's up videos. So Big E being on there made a lot of news over the past couple of days because he's the biggest WWE current star that's making money through this, Okay. Yeah. Anyhow, we'll talk more about that after we get done with Raw, about what's going on with John Oliver and what that did. But yeah, the Revival won tonight. It looked like Ricochet and Aleister Black had a pretty darn good chance of winning, but then Dawson, what was it? It was Dawson or Dash, whichever one was under the ring, held Ricochet's foot, kept him out, and he missed the 10 count. After that, we had the backstage segment, Tyler Breeze, EC3, and Alexa Bliss, and then Braun Strowman taking 2 local enhancement talent, challenging them to a ring, to a match in the ring later that night, saying their names tonight were going to be Michael Shane, Colin Jost, and then setting that up for later in the evening, the return of the Braun Strowman squash match. But before that, Roman Reigns backstage with Dasha Fuentes, talking about his match at WrestleMania against Drew McIntyre, and in the middle of that, McIntyre attacking him, beating him down.
Good. It was good. Good segment. Good heat on Drew.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Did Roman? Is he already getting booze again? It sounded like it tonight.
Oh, I heard it.
Yeah. So wrestling fans, they can they forget things quickly. So you just came back from cancer. What, last month?
You're the worst. Sorry, you guys are. You're the worst.
Yep.
It was mostly cheers, but there were some in there.
The Riot Squad versus Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch, and Charlotte Flair. There was a stipulation that if the 3 women in the triple threat at WrestleMania did not cooperate in this match, they'd be removed from that match. They barely cooperated during this relatively short match that ended with Liv Morgan tapping out before the armbar was even fully locked in by Ronda Rousey. Second after that, I'm sorry.
It works, but continue. It works though.
You got to time that though, right, Matt? Like you got to be.
But can you argue that she's such a badass that she didn't even want it to go on and she was ready to quit before?
That would have been funnier if Liv just would have started, tapping before it was even.
Should have covered that.
Yeah. But the second after the bell rang and that match was over, Ronda attacked Charlotte. Becky got involved. Security came out, handcuffed Ronda first. Then Becky started attacking Ronda. Becky got handcuffed. Charlotte got involved. Charlotte got handcuffed. All 3 women handcuffed, dragged to the back, put into cars. Becky and Ronda in the same car together started kicking the crap out of each other while handcuffed. Then got out of the car, window busted. Charlotte got involved. Ronda was driving the car while handcuffed.
Of course. Why wouldn't she be?
Yeah, it got a little silly at times there.
Are you kidding me? What about the 2 girls were in the back seat? They were not kicking each other. They were specifically aiming for the window with their feet and completely missing the other party on purpose to break the window.
I really like this segment, but it would go from absurd to cool, and luckily it would go quickly. Like
that's true.
Like when they're playing footsies there for a second in the back seat, but then Ronda starts kicking out the window, and that was cool. And then Ronda starts driving the car for whatever reason.
Did you think that?
But then she gets kneed in the head by Charlotte, and that was cool. So
her driving was cool.
The driving I thought was goofy.
Yeah.
Well, and a weird safety risk because they shot that, and it's like, okay, I mean, that was my first thought, was like, how did they shoot that and prepare that? Because she slammed that car in. She was handcuffed. She didn't have a seatbelt. I don't know. That's where my head went at first. It was dangerous. That it was a legitimately dangerous spot to shoot, right?
She drive 1 foot and bump into a car in front of her.
Hey, you never know.
Oh, my Lord.
Plus, this was probably all filmed earlier today.
Yeah, I was going to say filmed before. No way they did this live.
Right.
It was cool. It was over the top. I love segments like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the stuff that people remember like later on, like the Austin beer. I mean, this was nowhere near the Austin stuff, but that's what we remember from the Attitude Era, right? It's like the beer bashes and him getting arrested and pulling out a gun on Vince McMahon and Vince peeing his pants. It's like stuff like that. It sticks with you.
No, this was great and exactly what they needed to do to build that match on Sunday. People are going to be talking about that. What people are going to forget and not be talking about is Chad Gable and Bobby Roode versus Heavy Machinery.
Oh.
Matt, just pour a little liquor out for Bobby Roode's career and the way this is going.
I was watching him at the end of the match and going, geez, this dude has everything. He looks like $1 million. He's shredded to the gills. He's a great worker. He's a great promo. Has a cool gimmick. What the hell? Song. Yeah, that's a major part of the gimmick. Like, what in the hell? You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, like, he's going to turn. He'll get it back on track. It's coming.
keep thinking that, but he's been
coming.
pushed so far down. I mean, he was given that look after the match. Like, he wasn't happy. He looked frustrated. Yeah. Well, I hope it happens. I think Bobby Roode's such a talent. I'm basically, that show for me ended after that the girls and the women getting arrested. Definitely. I thought after that it was just hard to watch.
Let me ask you a question, Matt, because I know you've covered in interviews when you talk about your career. Before you were released by the WWE, did you see it coming, or were you optimistic till the end? That the night before you were thinking it's all going to turn around?
No, I was good. I was on a program, a freaking Big Show.
Yeah.
I was literally in the heart of I was working on my house shows.
Yeah.
Supposed to get my win back. And boom, Mexicals are jumping me on TV out of left field.
Yeah.
I'm getting smashed by rakes and hose and shit out of left field in a match versus Regal. He just got traded over from Raw.
Yeah. But, so it can literally happen at any time.
Yeah.
I mean, remember when Emma got released and she was in a big feud with Asuka, and like they were finally doing something with her, and then just days later she was released.
Yeah.
I mean, you just never, a lot of these you don't see coming.
So Heavy Machinery won that tonight. We got the package for Kofi Kingston hyping up his match against Daniel Bryan. We'll see much more of that tomorrow night on SmackDown Live.
If you're doing your go home show for the biggest event of the year, would you put Heavy Machinery versus Roode and Gable? No offense to Roode, but none of these guys have a big match on the card. Is that what you'd be putting in there?
No, and they have the worst music in the history of wrestling, by the way. I hate it.
It sounds like Zeus, his old music in No Holds Barred.
Terrible.
Yeah.
The whole thing is terrible.
Anyway, I was just like, some of these segments, I'm like, so many of these guys, Apollo Crews, Jinder, they don't have a big match at Mania. Spend more time with the video packages and building these big matches.
God, even talk to current talent that's not on the card and say, what match are you looking forward to watching at WrestleMania?
Sure.
What's your favorite WrestleMania match of all time? Hype the event. I mean, that's the thing. Just thinking about it this last Friday, like I said, thinking about it over the weekend, got my wife and I to think maybe we should last minute go. I think there's something about the spirit of WrestleMania that's infectious. Spend more time pushing that and not these nothing matches before your biggest pay-per-view of the year.
Right.
Now this I was a fan of 1-on-2 handicap match, Braun Strowman versus two local enhancement talent, dubbed Michael Shea and Colin Jost for the evening. Yeah. This was a return to the original Braun Strowman gimmick.
It was good. It was well served and what they needed to do with him. But again, what am I excited for? To watch him rip through talent in a battle, over the top battle royal? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
Yeah, he should. Again, I just look at him and I'm just thinking he should be in a big match. He should be in a big singles match. He should be, in the title picture.
But he is going to be on SNL, I'm sure, this Saturday, right?
We'll see.
I'll trade that any day of the week for Mania main event match.
Yeah.
Ideally, both. I mean, that would be big. I think that would be big. I mean, we remember as a kid when Hogan and Mr. T would make the rounds.
Sure.
This is nothing like that at this time because nobody watches live TV like that anymore. Yeah. But that could be good. So Neil's say Braun won that match. Okay, here we go. The controversy. Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush out in the ring. Finn Balor comes up on video. It's smoky in there. The smoke fills the screen. We come back. Finn is in the demon makeup. And then at the end of his statement, the demon sticks out his tongue and goes, blah. And they hold it for like 5 seconds. He's just holding it there
forever.
It was just so awkward.
Yeah, it's not cool. They made the demon uncool.
I don't want to take part in the burial of it because I want the demon.
Right, you want it to work.
Yeah, definitely, because this is it for him. I'm sorry, this is it. And it needs to work.
I agree.
I think one bad showing is not going to kill it. So
I hope not.
And they've done stupid stuff with the demon before. Remember the pumpkin makeup that one time around Halloween? Remember the Irish fairy tale with the flute music? They've done the stupid shit
vignettes
with the demon.
Before the Seth match where he's like giving a little history lesson of what the Demon King is. This is seeing the demon, that's cooler than a Finn Balor Bobby Lashley match. Definitely. So
Bobby sold it well.
Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I like that. He wasn't acting scared or over the top.
Like, oh shit's on.
Yeah.
And then your main event for the go home of Raw before WrestleMania, Rey Mysterio versus Baron Corbin.
Terrible on every level. Just horrible. This is what closed the show before Mania.
This match, and it didn't have that much time, but it felt long.
Did feel long. We went to a commercial break. I felt like there was times they should have gone to commercial break.
Yeah.
There really was 2 times I felt they should have went to commercial break. No, not an indictment on Ray, but this is just, I don't know.
Go home show, biggest show of the year, your number 1 show, Raw. This was what ended it. I mean, Kurt Angle had him on commentary or something. Do something. This was just
no disrespect to Kurt being his last match either. He's one of my favorite opponent of all time. Great human being. He shouldn't be closing the show either. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, not before me. Right. That's not where he's set up in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, this, I mean,
if this was back in the day, it would have been the women's angle that closed the show.
Yes, it would. And I still don't understand why it was not done that way. What am I missing?
I think they just lose so many viewers from the first to third hour that they want to put this. So it's like a catch-22, right? So you want to put the stuff where most people will see it, but by doing that, you're telling people they don't need to tune in for the third hour. And that
I don't know. I just, again, put in the Austin Rock test with that. Is that how they would do it if they were here today? If they were here today, would they put them in the same hour?
Maybe.
Hour 3, you think? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, it's rare that they finish the shows off strong. I mean, last one I can remember was with Batista with the Flair thing, and that was an exception, not the rule.
Yeah. So after Baron won that match, which kind of a terrible situation because they need to make both these guys look strong because Ray's got a match.
Yeah, he's wrestling for the U.S. title.
Yep. So Baron gets attacked by Kurt at the end, gets put in the ankle lock, and we go off the air.
I think Corbin's beating Kurt.
You think? Gee. Of course he is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there's no question in my mind he beats Kurt.
Mania Sunday, $9.99 on the WWE Network.
No, didn't they say they were giving away for free?
Oh, they are free for new subscribers. Yes,
free for new subscribers. Now this is interesting. Thanks, guys, in the chat. Cody Rhodes on Twitter, announcing that Kurt Angle will be at StarCast during AEW All or Nothing weekend. So, Kurt Angle's booked for StarCast too.
Yeah. There is separation. I mean, I think and I know this just because, so with Blue Chew, we're sponsoring StarCast. There is separation in the sense that we know that we're sponsoring StarCast. StarCast is happening around Double or Nothing, but it is not.
They're not one and the same.
Yeah.
No, they're not AEW affiliated.
Yeah. Right. So it is interesting though.
Yeah.
They do try to create that illusion, so I give them credit for that. It's pretty smart.
Yeah. I mean, it's Cody, who's the AEW guy, announcing Kurt Angle for StarCast. So there is a gray area, even though they're not technically affiliated with each other.
No, they are not.
So Mania Sunday, we ran down the card last week. Nothing has really changed. Do we want to go over the matches or save that for tomorrow, Raj? Talk about John Oliver instead.
Let's save that for tomorrow.
Okay. Because who knows? They might add more matches.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
John Oliver devoted about 20 minutes of last night. That's a sentence. To talking about the WWE and the way that it uses independent contractor status for its talent to not give them things like retirement plans, health insurance, or other benefits they would get were those wrestlers' employees. Matt, as you said, lawmakers, friends of yours were texting you about this. Do you think this was news to people? Because I feel like...
Yes, definitely was. There's a lot of, I'm not going to mention their names, but like 3 state reps that wrote me. But no, they had no clue. No idea whatsoever. And I'm like, I get a little frustrated because it painted that damn, the movie The Wrestler picture that all wrestlers end up busted and broke and this and that, and you're Jake Roberts and you can't afford a shoulder surgery, whatever the hell it was that they were showing, or you're going to die early because you're addicted to drugs. Those are real things that have happened, and I lost friends to it that way. But not every single story comes out that way. And when I signed on the dotted line, I knew of everything that could happen, from concussions to drug addiction to you name it. Everything I've gotten hit by, 21 registered concussions, drug addiction to painkillers, 13 years sober today. But I knew all those all those things were possible, and I knew that from day one. So it's nobody's fault. I don't blame them as a third-party company, and I have no desire to ever work there again. So that's not why I'm saying that. I'm saying it because you got to have accountability as well, and knowing what you're getting into. And then not trying to blame it on them because your life didn't turn out so great when you left. I don't like when they do that, and I don't like when NFL players do it either. But there is some things WWE needs to improve on. Let's just be honest.
The schedule is one year round. You don't have any breaks. I mean, it's year round, nonstop. So I was watching this. I thought it was really well done. But as someone who follows wrestling, a lot of it seemed unfair.
Negative picture.
Like they make it seem like a lot of this stuff still happens. The deaths were very common for a certain era, but now it's the wellness policy has changed a lot.
Absolutely. I would argue our policy is stricter than NFL's. I wish they would have said that.
Yeah. I mean, it's you don't see wrestlers dying all the time like you did now, or like the current generation.
No.
You're not hearing about ODing and people overdosing, and then just a lot of the clips that they show, like Vince knocking that reporter where Vince was being a complete dick to that reporter, but that was in 2003. That's a lot has changed. They showed him having Trish strip, all this stuff that doesn't happen. They don't do anymore in today's wrestling. Dropping the N word in that segment with Booker T.
Don't get where the attack came from. I don't get why. I mean, Mania season, is that one? I don't know where.
Yeah, probably. I mean, if you're going to do it, so they've been critical of the WWE in the past over the Saudi Arabia deal. Right. Matt, you've been critical yourself of that deal.
I think we've all been critical on that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do the podcast over it.
Right.
Yeah. I think the timing, is that this is a time where people are talking about wrestling, and it's probably the one area that the WWE hasn't made progress on, I would argue. I think they've actually progressed on almost every other front except this one. And look at what the NFL has done with the players' unions, with healthcare, with some things to improve it, other sports as well. I think it's worth noting that
it's gotten better in the sense that they cover you completely if you get injured on the job. They used to not do that back in the day.
Really?
Yeah, in the 80s and stuff, you got injured. That was kind of your own thing.
You're wearing helmets now in the ring. You're wearing neck braces and things like that when you first learn the bump. It's very different.
Yeah. So they've improved, but as far as providing, and I think at the Performance Center, they do try to teach you like wealth management and things like that, right? Like managing your money.
Yes.
So, I mean, there is it can be better, and not treating wrestlers as employees. NFL does that, and I think with how much money they're making, there's really no reason that they can't. So why not go that extra step? It makes the company look so much better to have them classified as employees.
I'm hoping that's what that report does. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'd like to see the schedule eased up, because that's the one thing. You see guys getting burnt out, wanting out of wrestling a lot sooner. When you're going 50 weeks a year, you get maybe 1 or 2 here off. That's tough, especially if you got families and children.
Switch the money around then, because this business breeds you to not want to miss anything. You want to work. You may complain about it, but notice the main event talents don't complain until they're done with that run. Then they will. During that run, you're making money hand over fist, and you don't want to lose that opportunity. You know what I mean? So they need to financially make that.
Yeah, and I think if you make it a mandatory, everyone gets two cycles off, basically the time between the pay-per-views, right? You get 2 of those off a year. You got to take it. And it freshens up your character. When you're off of TV for a month and you come back,
it's really not that much, though. 4 weeks, is that really that long?
Or unless you did 2 months.
Oh.
That's
something. But I don't think it's the top of the card talent that has this problem, because top of the card talent, I mean, we hear now that people are getting record paydays for re-signing. I think it's the mid card and lower card that to your point, Matt, they feel pressure that they can't say no creatively, or really to anything because they feel like their spots are in jeopardy, I feel like they're the ones that maybe would benefit more from a safety net.
Yeah.
So yeah, we haven't really seen any WWE talent comment on this publicly, and I don't think they would. Never.
Oh yeah, unless you've got a death wish, unless you want to start getting squashed by the Singh brothers on Raw, you keep your mouth shut.
Yeah. Hey, for some guys that would be an upgrade.
Yeah, that's true. Zack Ryder is getting some ideas now.
So I don't know. The story going around famously today is that Jesse Ventura tried to get a union going back in the 80s. Was it in Ventura's book? Yeah. So that was coming back to light today, and the fact that it was Hogan that ratted him out.
Yeah, we have an interview. I have an interview with Jesse Ventura that I did a few years ago where he talks a lot about that. And
Hogan was not going to screw up. That's what I wrote to my colleagues here in the state that were writing me about. This is so easily changeable. You know that, right? I'm like, no, you don't get it. They've been doing this at the beginning of time. Jesse Ventura came the closest. And here's what happened. Hulk Hogan was never going to screw over that golden goose, no matter what.
Yeah.
And it didn't come out. It didn't come out until his lawsuit later. So he never knew that Hogan was the one that ratted him out until his lawsuit against WWE in the exploratory phases of that case is when he found out.
Wow. So. Kind of crazy. Yeah, this whole thing kind of nuts that, this becomes a story today after last week. Tonight does it. I feel like a lot of people that are fans of the business know this about the WWE, but
crazy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people have been following know that it has gotten better, but yes, I think there were most people that did comment on it, people in the business, not with WWE, all seem to support it. Like really like that piece. So
like who?
Jim Cornette, Gail Kim, Adam Page. There were several people that posted stuff about it.
CM Punk in solidarity retweeted his old tweet.
Right. Well, he didn't retweet. He had to delete that original tweet. But he basically reposted it.
Yeah. So we'll see if anything comes of it. WWE responded today, of course, saying it was misrepresentations, very one-sided, and they invited John Oliver to WrestleMania.
I would argue, I don't blame them. It is. They've made insane changes. And again, a much more stringent drug testing policy than the NFL. Much more stringent.
Yeah. I don't know. NFL, they have made vast improvements of taking care of players after they retire.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's got to be for Vince and the powers that be the principle of it, right? But I would think, what would it cost to give everyone health care? What is that, like $10 million a year when they're making close to $1 billion a year? And they're very profitable.
What do you mean? They have
the wrestlers, the independent contractors, to give them like a standard HMO plan.
So where like their families could join on, like dental, all that.
I had insurance when I was with WWE.
Like health insurance?
Yes.
Like your wife and her family could get on?
I don't remember if they were on it. I know just from me, myself, and I for sure, 100%.
So what they tout, or when John Oliver talked about is,
and you want to hear something crazy? Hang on really quick. I went and bought out my own personal insurance because I never wanted them to know if I ever got injured or anything like that. So if something happened, I would use my personal insurance.
Yeah, that's a really healthy situation. That's a really healthy situation to be in, Matt.
See how crazy it makes you?
Yeah. But then also with 401ks and stuff. At some point, WWE,
let's do some Africa.
Because they'll show wrestlers a lot that weren't with the company very long, and just because you were with the company for a short time doesn't mean that they should be responsible for you for the rest of your life.
They don't know me shit. Nope.
Yeah, and that's the question. Is that but how do they deal with that in the NFL? If you play one season in the NFL, you seem like you're healthy, but over 10 years later, 20 years later, you find that you're experiencing pains and aches and things from playing. What is the NFL's responsibility to in the long run? I guess is the question.
They have they have periods, like if you're with the league for a couple, like 2 years minimum, you get, and I'll double check exactly what it is, but yeah, it's basically like you're vetted in by how much time you've spent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
because most people aren't in the NFL more than I think 3 years or 5 years, something like that.
3.5.
Well, for instance, I mean, like, and this is something that's a no risk job, obviously, but it's like in my city, if you're a city council member for 2 terms, the city pays for your health care for life.
Yeah.
You get like health insurance for life through the city.
Yeah. A lot of retirement pension plans do that.
Yeah. So I think that for the WWE, again, is this a $10 million problem or a $100 million problem? If it's a $10 million problem, I don't understand why they don't just snap their fingers and do it unless Vince has an issue with the principle of the matter.
Well, he does. He said it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it comes down to. Once again, a 73-year-old man and his whims dictate this multi-billion-dollar company.
Could be another huge coup for Hunter. You know what I mean? Being the one to facilitate this.
Yeah. And maybe there'll be sponsor pressure. So this.
Oh, what if AEW did it, right? And then if WWE sees AEW getting all this positive press and it makes WWE look bad, you could see something like that causing them to kind of move on that. Because
AEW needs to get themselves a full roster first and foremost. They can't just do it with 3 or 4 or 5, 7 guys. They've got to do it with an entire roster of 50 some odd talents to make it comparable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Would be a fair comparison, though, is what I'm saying.
Right.
People were speculating today if the sponsors, again, flashback to a year ago in the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal that got changed, that if the sponsors, the John Oliver piece, catches heat with them, that could be a potential area that enacts change.
It could.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think when you're talking about, there's one thing about renaming a battle royal. Another is at an event you're a sponsor for. Another is changing their corporate hierarchy and how they work. You know, I think
we also didn't think there'd be drug testing, Raj. We didn't think steroid testing would ever be a real thing. And as a wrestler, I'll tell you that right now. We never thought that would happen.
Yeah, but that wasn't because of sponsors. That was with Eddie and Benoit.
It was because we had pressure put on us by Harry Waxman.
The senator, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think politicians, so Matt, to your point, I don't think politicians are going to do anything to enact this change because, look, it's beyond wrestling. There is an abuse of independent contractor status in businesses in this country across the board. Wrestling is probably not even a drop of the tip of the iceberg of that. And I don't think politicians are going to change that because that's exploitation of independent contractors is a large part of American business at this point. So I don't think that,
I agree. That's why I was like, you guys are out of your mind.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, just tell that to Walmart, you know, that you're going to have to start paying everyone's healthcare that you're working 19 hours a week.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
I don't see this changing anything.
Yeah.
But, you know, the business is constantly changing. So hopefully, you know, with the big TV deal and everything coming up this year, they're going to start seeing that money. Hopefully that leads them to, make things better for the town.
Guys, I got to use the bathroom like you wouldn't believe.
We're going to wrap it up. We'll see you tomorrow night, Matt. So until next time, folks, he's BP Matt Morgan. He's Raj Giri _303. I'm at Glenn Rubenstein on Twitter. And we will see you back here tomorrow to talk about the Go Home SmackDown before WrestleMania. Until then, take care, and we'll see you back here on the Wrestling Inc. podcast.
God, bye.